Have you ever been rejected and felt like the world was crashing down on you? What if I told you that rejection isn't the end of the road, but the beginning of something greater? Imagine if every no you ever heard could become a stepping stone to your biggest achievements. What if the power to turn rejection into fuel for success was already within you? In today's video, we'll unlock the ancient wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics to show you exactly how to turn rejection into your greatest advantage. These are not just philosophical theories, these are practical tools you can use to transform rejection into growth, strength, and success. You don't have to be a victim of someone else's decision. You can take control. Let's dive in and discover how to master the art of turning rejection into unstoppable momentum.
Harness rejection as redirection.
Rejection can feel like a door slamming shut, but what if it's actually a detour leading you to a better path? Stoicism, especially the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, urges us to view setbacks as opportunities for redirection, not roadblocks. When life says no, it might be the universe gently steering you towards something greater. Instead of wallowing in disappointment, ask yourself, what new possibilities are opening up because of this? Imagine this: you're passed over for a promotion at work. It stings, no doubt, but instead of focusing on the rejection, you channel your energy into a side project you've been passionate about for years. As you invest time and effort, that project begins to grow, eventually turning into a full-time business. In hindsight, the rejection wasn't a loss but a push toward what you truly wanted. Think about famous figures like Steve Jobs, who was fired from his own company, Apple. That rejection could have crushed his career, but instead, it led him to create new ventures, which ultimately resulted in him returning to Apple and revolutionizing the tech industry once again. What seemed like a disaster at the time turned into one of the most significant turning points in his life. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control external events, but we can control how we respond to them. Reframe rejection as the universe redirecting you to a path more aligned with your true potential. Reflect on the times in your life when a rejection led to unexpected opportunities. How did you handle it then? And what could you have done differently to accelerate your growth?
Master emotional independence.
It's natural to feel hurt when ignored or rejected, but Stoicism emphasizes that our emotions shouldn't be dictated by others' actions. Emotional independence is key. When someone brushes you off, don't let frustration take control. Instead, practice detachment. Think of a time when you were planning something special with a close friend, only for them to cancel at the last minute. You could easily spiral into disappointment, frustration, or even anger, but Stoicism invites us to view such moments through a different lens. Instead of focusing on the canceled plans, you could reframe the situation. Perhaps this is an opportunity for some much-needed alone time or to pursue something you've been neglecting. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the nature of human emotions and how we give power to external events. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." By internalizing this concept, we regain control over our emotional responses. The next time someone rejects you or cancels on you, stop and think. Is this rejection really hurting me, or is it my perception of it that's causing the pain? By reframing the situation and focusing on your reaction, you take back control of your inner world.
Turn silence into strength.
In a world that values instant reactions and constant communication, choosing silence can be a powerful statement. When faced with rejection, we often feel the urge to explain, justify, or chase. But Stoicism teaches us that silence can be more powerful than words. When someone ignores you, consider the strength in choosing not to react. Silence is not just the absence of words. It's a deliberate choice to remain composed and grounded in the face of adversity. Picture this: you've sent a message that goes unanswered. It's tempting to bombard the person with follow-up texts or call for clarification, but instead, you decide to embrace the silence. You use that quiet space to focus on your own goals and priorities, rather than obsessing over why they didn't respond. In this silence, there's strength. You're demonstrating that your self-worth isn't tied to anyone else's validation or response. This kind of emotional control can be deeply empowering. Consider the example of professional athletes who are often criticized by the media or public. Many of them choose not to respond to every negative comment or critique. Instead, they let their actions on the field or court speak louder than any words. This kind of resilience not only keeps them focused but also reinforces their inner strength. In your life, think about where you can apply this lesson. The next time you're tempted to react to someone's indifference or rejection, choose silence and see how much power it can give you.
Build your worth from within.
Stoicism teaches that our value should never be dependent on external recognition. In a world that constantly seeks validation, true strength lies in building self-worth from within. Instead of begging for attention or approval, focus on self-improvement and personal growth. Think about a time you felt unnoticed or overlooked. Maybe at work, your contributions weren't acknowledged, or in your social circle, your efforts went unappreciated. Rather than feeling undervalued, you decide to invest in yourself. You start mastering a new skill, take care of your physical and mental health, and surround yourself with activities and people who genuinely uplift you. Let's look at an example. Imagine an artist whose work is consistently ignored by galleries. Instead of chasing validation, they continue honing their craft, experimenting with new styles, and focusing on the joy of creation. Over time, their work improves, and they eventually find an audience that appreciates their unique vision. By focusing on their growth and passion, they create a sense of worth that's independent of external validation. By building a life full of meaning and satisfaction on your own terms, you become someone who no longer needs external validation. Your self-worth becomes unshakable because it's rooted in your personal journey, not in others' opinions.
Use rejection as a catalyst for growth.
Rejection stings, but it can also be a powerful catalyst for growth if you allow it to be. Instead of viewing rejection as a blow to your self-esteem, see it as a wake-up call to push yourself beyond your current limits. For instance, think about an athlete who doesn't make the cut for a team. The initial disappointment could easily lead to giving up, but instead they use the rejection as motivation to train harder, develop new skills, and ultimately come back stronger the next season. This drive to improve doesn't come from external pressure, but from a deep desire to grow and excel. Many successful entrepreneurs like J.K. Rowling and Walt Disney faced numerous rejections before their breakthroughs. Instead of being defeated, they used each rejection as fuel to refine their craft and push forward. They embraced the challenge of rejection and transformed it into a stepping stone toward greater success. Marcus Aurelius taught that obstacles are part of the way, not in the way. Rejection isn't the end, it's a challenge that forces you to dig deeper, refine your abilities, and ultimately grow beyond what you thought possible. The next time you face rejection, ask yourself, how can I use this experience to grow? What strengths can I develop that will help me succeed next time?
Protect your energy through detachment.
Stoicism teaches the art of detachment, not in a cold, unfeeling way but as a means of protecting your energy. When someone rejects or ignores you, it's tempting to internalize their behavior, but in reality, their actions often say more about them than about you. Imagine you're at a party and someone you're excited to talk to dismisses you. Instead of letting that moment ruin your evening, you shift your focus to others who value your company or simply enjoy the environment. You understand that your energy is better spent on positive interactions, not on those who don't appreciate you. Detachment allows you to remain calm and centered, regardless of how others treat you. This doesn't mean you become indifferent or unfeeling, but rather that you prioritize your well-being and choose where to invest your emotional energy. It's about setting healthy boundaries and focusing on relationships and activities that uplift you rather than drain you. Think of it like tending a garden. You wouldn't waste time watering a dead plant. Instead, you'd focus your care on the flowers that are growing and thriving. The same principle applies to your relationships and emotional energy. By practicing emotional detachment, you safeguard your peace of mind. Your energy remains intact and you choose where and with whom to invest it. As a result, you become more selective, spending time and attention on the people and pursuits that truly matter.
Demonstrate your value without seeking validation.
Rejection can make us feel undervalued, but instead of shrinking away, see it as an opportunity to show your value, not for validation but for your own sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that our worth doesn't decrease based on others' inability to recognize it. For example, imagine being overlooked for a promotion at work. Instead of retreating into self-pity, you take the initiative to lead a new project or volunteer for a challenging task. You demonstrate your value through action, not to prove others wrong, but to reinforce your own self-belief. This kind of quiet confidence is powerful. You're no longer acting for external validation, but for the satisfaction of knowing that you are contributing meaningfully, regardless of whether or not it's acknowledged. Over time, this approach often leads to recognition anyway, but by then, it's no longer your primary motivation. You've already built a sense of self-worth that's rooted in your actions, not in others' opinions.
Rise above indifference with kindness and strength.
When faced with indifference, many people react with frustration or resentment. Stoicism, however, teaches us to rise above. Show kindness but maintain your emotional distance. You can be polite and professional without allowing someone's indifference to impact your sense of self. Think of a situation where a colleague or acquaintance acts dismissively. Instead of mirroring their attitude or getting upset, you remain cordial, focusing on your tasks and goals. Your kindness is genuine but isn't tied to their approval. By doing so, you're not just keeping the peace, you're showing that your self-worth is not contingent on their behavior. This kind of response is a reflection of emotional maturity. It shows that you're not easily swayed by others' actions, and that your sense of self comes from within, not from how others treat you. By rising above indifference with kindness and strength, you set an example for others, demonstrating that true strength comes from maintaining composure and self-respect, even in the face of rejection. We've just explored how Stoic wisdom, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, can help turn rejection into one of the greatest tools for personal growth and success. Remember, every no you face isn't the end, it's a new beginning, a stepping stone toward becoming stronger, more resilient, and more focused. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel for more transformative insights. We'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Share your stories of overcoming rejection, or if you've noticed any mistakes in the narration, feel free to point them out, since the video is narrated by artificial intelligence, and we apologize for any potential errors. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Stay strong, stay stoic, and we'll see you in the next video.